Hello, I'm Paul, and this is Paul Plays with Fire. Welcome. It has come to my attention that my pizza making process has a lot of rules. There may even be some gatekeeping going on. So we're going to address that today. First, let's talk about a few of those rules. Here are a few examples.
Pizza dough shall only be made by hand, using only flour, water, yeast, and salt. And it shall be allowed to ferment in a cool environment for exactly 3 days.
Okay, there are some pretty big benefits to doing that, but the expense is in terms of time. If you want to make pizza, you need to know 3 days in advance. That's like stirring the Titanic.
The tomatoes used for pizza shall be San Marzano tomatoes that have been grown on a volcanic plain in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius.
Once again, pretty good reason for the rule. San Marzano tomatoes are delicious. But there are other choices out there. You don't have to stick with just them. You can use just store-bought sauce if you want.
The cheese used for making pizza shall only be made with milk from wild water buffaloes that have been allowed to graze in the marshlands of Campania.
Now, the only reason I see for this rule is to sell water buffalo milk. Smart. But in reality, it's a real rule. It's a pizza margherita rule in Italy. Look it up. So on today's show, we're going to toss out all those gatekeeping rules and just make pizza. We're going to make pizza using store-bought dough. We got a couple different varieties to choose from. We're going to use store-bought pizza sauce, and we're going to use pre-shredded mozzarella. Wish me luck, we're going in. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break our pizza crust out of its tube. Ooh, it's always a surprise. And we've got a piece of parchment paper set out here. We're going to be kind of gentle with it. Oh, that's very nice. You know, I don't have a lot of experience with these, but I do know that getting them into a round shape is folly. You might as well just set yourself up for having a square pizza. We're going to stretch this out a little bit as best we can. We don't need to stretch it out much, and then we're going to let it warm up a little bit because it's still refrigerator cold, and that's not really a good way to stretch dough. So we're just going to stretch this out a little bit, let it come up to temperature, and then we'll come back to it in a little bit. The second kind of dough we have is thin pizza crust dough. I mean, it's just well, before we get to that, I should mention, if you like seeing this kind of nonsense, you should probably subscribe because it does make my videos easier to find on YouTube, and I sure do appreciate it. So please subscribe if you can. Back to the dough. These come 2 to a package, and they already come pre-browned, I guess. And they're just kind of ready to go. It feels kind of dry, but it actually cooks up pretty good. It's surprising how good it cooks. So we're also going to let that one come up to temperature. And we'll be back in a little bit with the oven all warm once we've preheated the oven. Okay, let's make some pizza. Our oven has preheated. We've got our the bottom oven with the steel in it, and it's preheated to about 450 degrees. So the first step in making our pizza is to take our pizza sauce, which is Gino's pizza sauce. It's actually really good pizza sauce. It's a local company, and they make a pretty good product. So we're going to start by taking our pre-made dough, our dough in a bag, I guess you'd call it, crust in a bag, and we're going to put about, let's say 4 or 5 ounces of sauce on there, maybe 6. One thing I noticed about these crusts is they do tend to dry out a little bit, and this one kind of cracked on the edge. So you have to be a little careful with them. They're a little brittle. There, we need just enough sauce, not too much, not too little. That will do. Next up with the Parmesan. And guess what I'm using, folks? The green bottle stuff. The label came off, so I'm not going to mention by name. This is way outside of my wheelhouse. I'm just not used to this at all. While I was shopping for ingredients for this pizza, I ran across a Chef Boyardee pizza in a box. I almost bought it, and we may still do that just for fun, for old time's sake, because I think probably the first pizza I ever had was a Chef Boyardee pizza in a box that my folks made at home. I don't know. Okay, we got a Parmesan on there. We got our sauce on there. Now we're gonna go with the pre-shredded cheese. I know in past episodes I said don't use pre-shredded cheese because it has agents on it to prevent clumping, and that'll make your pizza slide off make the cheese slide out right off the pizza. We'll see how it goes. I think it's got some kind of potato starch or something like that in it to help it keep from clumping, and it does a beautiful job of that, but it also affects the flavor and the texture and its ability to stick to a pizza. Is it worth it to have easy to use cheese rather than having to grate your own? I don't know, we'll decide. There, that looks about right. Next up, we'll go with some pepperonis just to make it taste good. And then a few green peppers. There we go, that's a pizza, and man, that is easy to make. You open the bag, you put on the sauce, you put on the cheese, you put on whatever else you want. God, it goes in the oven so easy. So I can understand the attraction to this. So we're gonna slip it into our oven at 450 degrees on the steel. Slides right off. Nice. Now we'll move on to the next pizza. I was able to stretch this one out. This is the Pillsbury dough pizza, the dough in a tube, and I was able to stretch this out to be about a 12-inch pizza, so that's really not too bad. Same deal. Start with our sauce. Follow it up with the green stuff. I believe the Chef Boyardee pizza in a box that I had as a kid only had Parmesan cheese in it. I don't believe there was any mozzarella involved. And then we'll follow it up with the shredded mozzarella. Pepperoni. And green pepper. There we go. And we'll put that one in as soon as the other one comes out. Pizza coming out, look at that. Doesn't that look good? Looks a little frozen pizza-esque just because it's so perfectly round. But you know, it's a pretty passable looking pizza considering the time we put into it. Now we're gonna take our other pizza that we've artfully cut onto a piece of parchment paper and pop it in. See you in 10 minutes. Well, the pizza's cooling and we just had a peek at it. Look at that undercarriage. There you go. Some of that's artificial, most of that is not. That's pretty good looking pizza. Okay, second pizza coming out.
I didn't know.
There we go, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? That looks like a pizza. We'll set this on the tray to cool so we don't lose the crunchiness. We'll shut that oven off so it stops making noise. Okay, our pizzas are done. The second one is cooling, so we're gonna respect that for a little bit. And meanwhile, we're gonna cut up the first one. Nice crispy crust, that's for sure. There we go, there's a cut up pizza. Okay, we're gonna have a little taste test now.
Oh.
I'm gonna give Mrs. Paul Plays with Fire a piece of pizza.
Thank you.
And I'll grab one for myself. Let's look at that undercarriage first. That looks really good, look at that. That really looks good. That's not the stuff that came printed on it. That's the stuff, we gained this in the oven, so.
Okay. Well, now is this gonna burn my mouth hot?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Yeah, so good. Crispy cracker-like crust. Mm-hmm. The cheese holds up pretty well. It does not slide off the pizza.
It did not slide off.
Uh-huh. So I'm pleasantly surprised there. That's really good pizza.
I like the flavor. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's really good sauce, and I like the crispy, thin crust.
And you know what I like the best about it?
What?
It didn't hardly take any time at
Yeah,
all.
that's true. That's true.
Open the
And
bag.
we have two.
Open the bag, slop on a little sauce, put some cheese on it, put a little pepperoni and green pepper on it, and you're eating pizza in the time it takes to warm up the oven, basically. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Stop stepping on the frame.
Well,
Okay, now we're on to the second pizza.
okay.
It's still a little warm yet, but we're gonna go in anyway. I like the feel of this crust.
It looks nice.
Yes, it's got a nice puffiness to it.
Yeah,
Not
you
so much,
almost got around on this
not
side.
so much. Yeah, and it's almost round. Not so much football shaped or square. Okay, give me a plate. That holds up well. That holds up really well.
I'm gonna look at it.
Undercarriage.
Oh, you got some
that-
char going on this one.
That undercarriage is really good. That looks great. And obviously the cheese is not sliding off. Okay, being very careful.
I don't think I can.
Might be hot. Oh, that's very good.
I can't, sorry. If I could cut it off, I can maybe.
Blow it a little bit.
It's a good look. Oh, hot. Oh, hot.
And what do you think?
Is that hot?
Take a bite of the crust.
Okay.
Oh, that's really good. Well, what have we learned, Dorothy?
You can make a pizza real fast.
We can make a pizza real fast. That's right. We can make it really hot and make it pretty darn good. Really, that's. I'm actually kind of amazed and kind of surprised and impressed. It turns out it turned out really good. And by breaking a few rules, we got pizza on the table in a hurry. So you might want to just not be pinned down by all those rules.
And later in the comments, I'll let you know which one I like best.
Oh yeah. Why don't you go ahead and just tell them now?
I don't know yet, because this
Okay.
one's too hot to taste.
But anyway, at the end of the day, it is just pizza.
It
so,
is.
I'm Paul. And this is Mrs. Paul Plays with Fire. This has been Paul Plays with Fire. Thanks for watching.
Pizza dough shall only be made glasses. Pizza dough shall only be Pizza dough shall only be made by hand, using only flour, water, yeast, and salt, and shall be allowed to ferment in a cool environment for exactly 3 days. The tomatoes used for pizza shall be San Marzano tomatoes that have been grown on a volcanic plain in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius. The cheese used for making pizza shall be used The cheese used for making pizza shall be made with the milk of wild water buffaloes that have been allowed to graze in the hillsides of Campania, in the marshlands of Campania.